This is Miz again, and somebody asked me for this tutorial, so I came up with it. Somebody came on the forum and said, let me actually bring it up here. Let's see, where is it? It's right here, and there we go. And how to make water reflections. And it says, "Hi, hey Miz, I'm not sure if this is the place to make a question. As I only see tutorials. Feel free to remove the topic." Anyway, and he goes, "I've seen a lot of images where isolated objects or people have a reflection in water. How can I do this? Thank you." And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you people how to do it. And we're going to use this image. This is what we're going to wind up in. Okay, so let's begin with a new image. There is the thing we're going to do the reflection with. You can use any object. You can use a person. You can use an egg, an orange, a piece of fruit, a tree. You can do anything with this. I just chose this because this is something that's in one of my portfolios. So anyway, I begin with a regular background that's white, and I put a layer above that. I'm going to go into the marquee tool, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a selection just like so. Come right back down like here, and click OK. Now I've got my default color set to black and white. Go into filter, and we're going to go into render, and we're going to choose clouds, and we come up with something like that. Okay, let's deselect. Let me bring this up so that it covers the whole. There we go. All right, so now I've got the free transform tool, which is Control T, and I'm going to hold down the Shift and the Alt key just so I can evenly space this and drag it all the way over to the edge like so. And what I'm going to do now is hit enter and I'm going to apply a small blur, motion blur to that just to give it a little smoothness. For this one here, let's go make sure we're at 0 degrees, and 10 seems to be good, and that's good right there. Next thing you need to do, we're going to give it that water effect. Now we're going to go into filter, we're going to go into sketch, and I'm going to use Chrome. And that's going to bring up this dialog box. Now you can't see it because I don't have the but off to the right there's a detail and smoothness in the Chrome. I've got my detail set to 1, and I've got my smoothness set to 10, and I'll click OK. And that gives us that little watery effect here. Next thing I want to do is I want to go into free transform tool again, Control T. I'm going to bring that halfway down the image just like so, just like that. Okay, and we'll hit the enter key, and we're going to duplicate this image by hitting Control J. That'll put one layer right on top of that one. And we're going to change the mode this time from normal to soft light just to give it a little bit more contrast. Now we'll merge these two layers, layer 2 and layer 2 copy, together by holding down the control key and hitting the letter E. That'll merge these two together. Now what I need to do is I need to go down to the background layer for this. And I want to fill this background layer with the 50% gray. And what I'll do is I'll hold down the Shift key, hit the backspace button. That'll bring this dialog box up. You might have it set for foreground color. Just scroll right down to where it says 50% gray and click OK. Now, we're going to have to save a copy of this image. So pay attention. Hold down the Control and the Shift key and hit the letter S. That's the same as Save As. And what you want to do is you want to come in here and you want to save it as a copy. You don't uncheck the layers. And I've already got one, I'm going to call it Displace PSD. And it says the file already exists. It existed from my last time I did this. So I'm going to say yes, I'm going to replace that. Okay. So now what I need to do is, just for a second here, let me bring this right on top of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this right to the top, just about almost to the top. Anyway, right about there. And I'm going to duplicate this image now by Control J. Control J. And on the bottom layer, bottom duplicate, I'll hit the Control T again to bring up the free transform. And what I want to do is I want to flip this vertical. And so I've got it flipped vertical. I'm going to hold down the Shift key so I get it straight to come straight down. And there we go. We got that flipped vertically right there. Let me just move that up so right there. So let's bring in the water again. And now what I want to do is I want to convert this to a smart object. So I'm going to right click on this layer and I'm going to say convert that to a smart object. What that does is it allows me to if I make a mistake or anything, it allows me to reapply any filter that I do. Because we are going to apply a filter to this now. What we want to do is we want to go into Filter, Distort, and we want to go into Displace. And what I've already got my horizontal setting. Yours probably says right now 10 and 10. I did mine 75. And vertical scale could be 20 or 30. I've got it set to stretch to fit and wrap around there, and click OK. And we want to go and remember that displace filter that we did, and we saved it as a PSD file. Here it is right here, and we're going to go like that. And there's our reflections right there. That's what it created right there. So now what we can do is we can go up here on this and we can create a layer mask here for this. And what I would like to do is gradually fade this from the bottom to the top. So I'm going to go in here. And I'm not going to use a pure black. I'm going to use maybe a little bit of a gray here. You can experiment with this. And I'm going to go in from I'm going to choose the foreground to transparent, and that should be okay right there. Now let me zoom out just a little. I'm going to apply that gradient to the reflection here on our mask, and that fades that just a little bit. Now I can also fade that gradient back. If it's come out too light, I can fade it right back right about there. Okay, that looks good right there. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add a little watercolor to the background and the water itself. So why don't I just create an adjustment layer for hue saturation. We'll do that. And we're going to click Colorize here. And we're going to select a very pale blue. Let's see. And let's see. You play around with this to your liking. That looks good right about there for me, for the purposes right there. And now what I like to do on the background here is I'm going to create another layer right above here, right above the top layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another gradient for just the background here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a gradient from right down to the top here, and immediately what we'll do is we're going to change that to soft light, and maybe we can double the darkness and contrast of that, and bring down the opacity just a wee bit. Okay, that looks good right there. Now there's our reflection, but you know what? It doesn't look like it's fading into the water too much. So what we can do here is create another layer mask. And what we can do is fade this, the top image, into the water just a little bit. So let me bring that back to the default colors. And now on the layer mask, I'll create just so that fades up there just a little bit, and go down to the bottom one, bring that up so it goes right behind that one. And let's see. Oh, that's looking good right there, I guess. Have that come up right in there. And that's how I do my reflections. And you know what else I usually do is I'll put some clouds in the background here. Also, you know what I can do? I can fade the water in the background too. Put a layer mask on that, on the water itself. Put a layer mask there, and what we'll do is we'll fade the horizon of the water just a little bit right here, so the water fades in the background just a little bit, you know, like that. That looks good. So there we got our reflection, and like I said, you can use any sort of object you want. So, if you got any questions, give me a holler. You know how to get a hold of me. Thank you very much.